Welcome into Celtics Late Night. The Celtics win 113-103 against the pesky Atlanta Hawks. Finally back in Boston as well, a much-needed home game. Jake Eisenberger's here, and Wayne Spoonie making his Celtics Late Night debut. Spoonie, how's it going, man?
I'm doing good. Is this the least exciting special guest of all time? Nah. Celtics Late Night.
We'll see. We'll see how
Not
the show
for
goes.
us.
Right. A lot of pressure.
Yeah. Let's get
Jake,
the
how we
boys
doing?
together. We're good. It's Monday. It's 2:01 p.m. Eastern Australian time, and
Late
we have we have a whiskey, and we're trying to make it happy drinking and not on tilt drinking due to some dumb football shenanigans. But thankfully, the Celtics have brought me slightly above emotionally.
Can you disclose the shenanigans? Is it like purely Pats related? Like, is it
Oh,
good
no.
now? They're tanking?
No, that's fine. It's all fantasy related, but
Okay.
The reason that's painful is because if you come last, this is the have to run a half marathon but drink or scull 5 beers kind of stuff, like from the beginning all the way through. So and I'm like right on the, like if I won this week, I'm like safe from the poop bowl. And I had like a monster 50-point lead, and like Justin Tucker. It's all like so much shit is going wrong in a row, and that's fine. But the Celtics won, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, thankfully the Celtics won. Kristaps Porzingis, Drew Holiday, both out. Delano Banton gets the start. I guess Joe going with an emphasis on defense with that lineup shift. Spoonie, did it work for Joe and Delano Banton?
It didn't not work. I don't know.
That's all we needed.
I thought Banton was fine. I guess like my expectations for him are just so criminally low that being like kind of okay is kind of a win, right? I like how he pushes the ball in transition. I thought defensively he was like really good. He was hitting the glass really hard, and then like offensively he just brings you absolutely nothing on that end. I mean, like I can't really remember one time he like did something positive in half court, but I like that Joe's trying other dudes out. Why not, man? Throw it at the wall, see what happens.
Yeah, don't mind. Firstly, VT in the chat, don't drive to Wendy's after drinking 3 8% IPAs. Wait 90 minutes. Like once this show's over, then go. You know?
Yeah, we'll just get it delivered.
Yeah, I'll get it. Yeah, I'll walk. Get on your bike or something. You know? But yeah, on Joe trying Banton, I like that he's trying stuff. But I'm not sure I understand the point of Banton in the lineup, because like the idea of Banton is like big ball handler, and when he's playing with Derek, Jaylen, and Jason, like he's not going to be handling the ball, and he really didn't handle the ball at all. It was like, I'm an energy guy and I'm going to run around and be tall, and that's fine. I would have just put Jordan Walsh in then, if that's what you want. If there's someone to run, if you want someone to run around and be athletic and defend, because Banton was getting murdered on the screens like all night long. Yes. I was like, yeah, just give me Jordan Walsh. And they recalled him from Maine too. So I was like, oh, is this potentially the day where we get real Jordan Walsh minutes? And then still like our guy, Lamar Stevens, can't sniff it. They clearly want Banton to be good. They want him to be good so bad. Like all the preseason minutes, the first, like I kind of get it, but then you kind of need to let him do the thing that makes him tantalizing, which is be the tall ball handling guy and then spray maybe to other guys. But I don't think you can do that. Not in a starting lineup.
He's the best theoretical player in the league.
Yeah, apparently,
give him a chance. You got to see if it'll come to fruition, come into practice, and it didn't. Yeah, he was clearly dying on those screens, like you said. It was a huge problem, and the Hawks were getting so many open threes, especially while we were playing drop. And not to jump too much all over the place, but when Al came back in to end the game, they started switching that coverage. They held the Hawks to, I think, 2 points in the final 3 minutes and 49 seconds of the game. So Al just came in and completely shut it down. And one of those plays, I think I've got the clip here, blocking the ball directly into his son's lap here to close the game out.
Into the paint. Into the basket, rejected by Horford out of
Beautiful. Beautiful from Al Horford. Stunning.
Yeah, his child looks really bad. He might want to go to a doctor. Yeah.
Really, terrible defender. His son. That is glorious.
But yeah, Walshy laying in wait there like a beautiful predator lying in the sun in the jungle there, waiting to strike. Didn't get his chance, unfortunately, but a beautiful sort of courtside posing 48 minutes there for Walshy.
I know. At first, I was like, "Who's he going to? Who's Horford going to go check on?" And then he's the second most famous Celtics son is Horford's kid, which I don't actually know the name of, which I think is a testament to Al's.
Embiid being number one, the most famous Celtics son. Yeah,
I think technically it's like Deuce and him are 1A, 1B. Yeah.
Yep,
dude, Al was so good, man. Like,
oh my gosh,
I think he only had 6 points, but he had 15 boards. He was everywhere defensively. Like, I might vote for him for MVP. Like, I mean, this was he was awesome, man. Like, how is he holding up in isolation against Trae Young?
Dude, Scal's calling for them to go away from the drop, and like, it was definitely frustrating at a point where Trae started to get hot. But you look at the numbers, like Trae got up so many shots and was like efficient-ish. A lot of that kind of came late. But then they go to the switch, everything, and Al Horford's still able to hold up on defending someone like Trae Young is just... Like, if LeBron didn't exist and Al Horford was doing what he was doing, it would be a much bigger story that how impactful that Al Horford is this year, whether it's shutting down Embiid, it's like he playing incredible against the Bucks. Now he's able to like come in and start and play. How many minutes did he even play tonight? He played 32 minutes tonight. Can switch on to Trae Young. He's rebounding like I've never seen him rebound before. The way that he's crashing the glass on both ends, and we need it. Like, this team really needs the rebounding, especially now with Porzingis out too, and for him to take that challenge upon himself and lead the way like that. I'm not surprised. Obviously not surprised because it's the big dog.
Yeah, dude.
I've got a clip real quick, Ben. Sorry.
Oh, please.
Yes.
No, go for it.
But it's just Al ISO off a switch against Trae Young, and he just locks him up, dude. Like, look at this shit.
Yeah. Beautiful. Fuck. Good closeout, good contest at the end there.
He finally missed.
Kind of unlucky that it goes to Bogey, but like, dude, he's all over him. Trae had to force a terrible pass.
I'm 37 years old.
It's unreal.
36. I can't see myself being able to do anything a year from now, let alone, defend one of the most elite ball handlers of all time. There was a timeout 6 minutes in, halfway through the second quarter. And at that point, the Hawks had been killing us on the boards, many second chance points. Joe Mazzulla must have threatened the guys' lives during that timeout because they came out rebounding like the fate of the world depended on it, and almost reckless crashing of the hoop there to secure every rebound, and they didn't really let up at all. Bit of a brief rough stretch in the third quarter, which I guess we'll get to, which is becoming an unfortunate trend for these Celtics. But they completely flipped the switch rebounding wise at that exact juncture of the game. So I'd love to get my head in that time huddle. Some of the press people there were tweeting out they counted 4 F-bombs during Joe Mazzulla's speech in that time. That's something clearly was emphasized. I will end you if you give up another fucking offensive rebound. Because it worked. Completely shifted the game.
It just definitely felt like they switched focus. And, Horford in general, though, I mean, I just pulled... Because I found these stats the other day. Even coming into today, he's been rebounding at a much higher level. So, per 100 possessions this year, he's averaging 11.8 boards, 8.4 defensive, 3.4 offensive, compared to last year, which was 9.8, 7.9. But the biggest difference is the offensive rebounds. He's almost doubling his offensive rebounding rate compared to last season. And he still feels like the go-to leader at this point. Joe has that impassioned speech and Horford's the one that goes out there and actually does it. And I feel like that just bleeds into the rest of the roster. And for him to be able to just not only lead with what he's doing on off the court, whether it's being the mentor for Jordan Walsh when he first came in, but to still have the ability to lead the way on defense and on the boards. I just can't say enough about this dude. And I feel like we've asked the question, does this guy's jersey get retired? And it's hard to say yes without him winning a title, but then he's just been so solid since he's arrived here. And he's of any player this season who's exceeded expectations the most, it's probably Porzingis, but Al's probably right there.
Yeah, especially after Well, I was just going to say after a slow start with his role, where like there were a couple of pods early in the season where we're like, oh shit, like is it going to be Al who struggles with his new role the most? But he's completely flipped that on its head, Spoonie.
Yeah, and he's like not even shooting the ball that well yet.
No.
You know? Like once that comes along too, he's going to be so absurdly impactful. And like the Hawks are a good offensive rebounding team. They're 4th in the NBA in offensive rebounds a game. So the fact that we won the offensive rebound battle by 7, that's pretty insane. Like, have we won an offensive rebound battle by that many in a game this year? I'm not even sure. Like,
not since 1986, I think. Was the last time.
That is. Thank you,
Towers.
Thank you, Dick Light, for that one.
You just got liped.
Yes, finally. Yeah, so I guess, Al, I mean, we could just make this the Al Horford podcast at this point and then change the Late Night Show's title to the Derek White Show and stay pretty much completely on brand. We've talked about the Celtics defense and whether or not like there's a identity shift back towards the defensive end for the C's. Was this, Jake, like another vote for that, I suppose, in that the Hawks had a 127.5 offensive rating per cleaning the glass in the last 2 weeks. We held them to 103 points, their lowest score in total of the season so far. You got to, tip the cap to the Celtics defense in this one.
That's some nice propaganda right there, Ben.
Yeah,
I was like,
thank you. I'll be pushing it all season over here, folks.
Yeah, that was really good. I was like, because I thought the defense was mostly good in this game. I didn't think it was incredible, but like those numbers are real. Obviously, the Hawks played last night on a back-to-back. They lost Jaylen Johnson, but then the Celtics are playing this game without Drew Holiday and without Porzingis, and the Hawks to shoot 53 threes and like make 36% of them, and then them still being able to hold them to 103. Like, it's absolutely the identity of this team. I think right now that's by far the most consistent aspect on a night-to-night basis, even against the Magic. Like, stop me, it's first to the floor bingo, but it's the offense again. It's just this season, like we've definitely got some improvements here and there, but the defense, I think, night to night is going to make sure they're in every game. And technically, we lost the Magic game by 17 points, but so point differential unfortunately matters in that one for once. But we're not going to get blown out really any given night, and the defense is going to give us a chance to win every single game just because of that being consistent night to night.
Yeah, it's almost like the Udoka sort of formula where it was like the offense was sort of inconsistent at times, but the defense travels, man. Like you can just control the floor of your defense so much better on a night-to-night basis than you can your offense. So Cornet included rotations were terrible on defense. Yeah, look, not a great matchup for Lukey, all right? No. But, dude, Joe is a maniac. He just played drop coverage for, like, 90% of the game.
That was insane.
I know. Bogdanovich, like, would he hit, like, 8 straight at one point or 7 straight threes? Like, that was absolutely terrifying, but you just took away literally everything else, and it worked. I mean, it's scary to watch them walk into wide open pull up threes for 42 minutes of the game, but it worked.
It really did, because they were all above the break for the most part. It's just like, and I thought Derek did struggle getting over some of those screens more so than he usually did too. But man, it reminded me of Miracle, the USA coach from that movie. He's just like, again, and he's just like, drop coverage again. Get over these screens again. And then you've got Sam Cassell like tapping him on the shoulder. I was like, Joe, should we switch it again? Let's go.
That has to have been what happened. It was wild. It was either the threes or like step into rhythm mid-range shots where like the drop coverage is just so far back. And Cornet was definitely a victim of that, as was Neemias Queta. There's probably other people that we should get to ahead of Queta, but he was pretty good in his like first real serious minutes of his Celtics career. As we get Frozen Jake here, he's back. He's back with a little fuzzy,
struggling today.
We'll go to Spoonie, who's got a little bit more internet bandwidth at this very moment. Neemias Queta, man, like, should Luke Cornet be worried at this point? Because I thought it was a pretty good showing.
Yeah, I mean, Luke. I'm of the opinion Luke Cornett should always be a bit concerned about his place in the NBA. Like, I mean, that dude, he's on a non-guaranteed contract. I think at least until like
Every
December
day.
30. Yeah, so like every day, Luke, you better be worried about if you're gonna step foot in the Garden again. So Queta came on, and like for the first 2 minutes, I thought he was a disaster. But then he settled in, man. Credit to him. And he's just like, there's just positive value in being absolutely friggin' massive. And he is absolutely massive. And I thought he kind of moved his feet decently enough, at least better than Luke does. Maybe I'm just so used to our backup centers getting dusted in isolation that Queta, like, holding up twice was like, oh my God, he could kind of switch. And like, dude, he was banging on the glass. He was playing super hard. And that's all you can ask for from your third center. And he makes like no money. So like, yeah, dude, watch out, Luke, man, because he's coming.
Yeah, look, you have to remember that's the context. Third big. It's like, what are we getting from these guys? And yeah, man, Luke in the first half, he got some nice chemistry going with Tatum in the pick and roll, and like he was finding him, making some nice passes. But today felt like we were back to the please Luke Cornett grab a rebound version of Luke Cornett, and because they were up for grabs and we really needed some help on the boards. And Queta comes in and grabs 10, dude. I mean, obviously, I think how many of those are like his own misses? I just realized that 6 of them were offensive. At least 3 of those. Yeah, very, very Enes Kanter of him. Or sorry, Enes Freedom. Apologies. To accumulate some rebounding numbers that way, and also like so in the Memphis game was the first time we saw him, and he was awful. And then he struggled again today. He did say he went back down to the G League for a couple games, I think, in between Memphis and today, and like. For him to be out for so long and then have to go from really not having NBA minutes and then being thrown in without really having a ramp-up period. Like, how many times today did it feel like someone tried to throw him a lob, but he didn't jump for the lob? I feel like that happened like 3 times in the first half. And then we're like, what are you doing? Like, in the preseason, you looked like Rob Williams and you're skying. I think that purely is like him getting reacclimated, like having this foot injury, getting used to the speed of the NBA, and like he's literally just not played with these guys before. And so I do think that there might be something to him playing a bit more and like him getting a little bit more comfortable, because just having that lob threat, like that you can like kind of just throw it up to, is really valuable. And if he's going to give you the rebounding, those are probably, if I had to prioritize 2 skills from like my third big man, it's like rebound the ball and be a reliable and like have a bigger catch radius as a lob threat, because our team doesn't really have the most precise lob throwers. Granted, Tatum did execute another Tatum to Jaylen lob, which I feel like we've exceeded our quota for the season already with 2 of those. But for Queta to get a little bit of that rhythm back, I think Cornett definitely should be looking over his shoulder.
Yeah, and I think opponents are starting to learn that they can knock us off course, at least offensively, by being super physical with us. And we certainly saw that in the Magic game, and it felt like that was part of their game plan from the get-go, particularly going into the second half. And that was at least the case in this game early on, where, as I mentioned, the Hawks were getting a shitload of second-chance points and offensive rebounds. And with Smart gone and with Grant gone, like, we haven't really got an abundance of tone shifters when it comes to physicality. So for Queta to come out there and be super physical and like almost like kamikaze crash the boards to get some of those extra possessions and offensive rebounds, I think was huge for flipping the game on its head as well. So also the confidence in those jump hooks as well. In his one other stint with the C's so far this season, he was putting a few of them up early and then just stopped because they didn't go down, and he lost his confidence. And the first maybe 3 in this game also didn't go down. And clearly the directive was just like, nah, man, just keep shooting him. Like, they're going to go. You're going to settle in. You're going to find your confidence. And he did. And then his impact on the game just expanded from there. It was awesome to see.
Yeah, it is worth, I think, giving him a chance, because you might just find something. Like, even if like Cornett can hang around, it's just you're able to get familiar with what. I just got his name mixed up in my brain. I was gonna say Nita, and it's like a combined Neemias and Queta combined. Yeah. But yeah, like Queta's going to be able to give you X, Y, and Z, and Cornett's like a little bit different. And so just having like a different change of pace in a matchup that you don't have right otherwise. And so giving him some minutes, especially early in the season, I'm happy for him, dude. Like to come on here and like really impact the game. Like that's awesome for a dude that's been like doing his thing in the G, as he said. And so, no, I love to see it.
Dude, and there is something about Drew is obviously like a physical player, kind of in the same vein as Smart, but there was something about Smart's physicality that was like infectious. Like everybody else wanted to play harder because Marcus Smart was like diving into the scorer's booth, getting covered in beer, and then somehow getting back into the play on defense. And like Drew's he's just not, nobody's that type of guy. There's very few people in NBA history that are as maniacal as Marcus Smart. And like Queta definitely has a little bit of that, where it's like the physicality just overpowers people. Sully's in shape. Sullinger, sign him, baby. I'm a big Sully guy. Yeah,
Sully shape or NBA shape?
Yeah, he's in shapes. But I thought, look, dude, great minutes from Queta. Like we needed a little boost from the big man spot. Although Lukey had some nice handoffs, Jake. There was some tricky handoff stuff going with Cornette. He had a nice one with Jaylen too. So Queta doubt gives you really that, but he sets good screens too, which is always kind of an underrated skill.
Yeah. I like the offense. Just you mentioned the handoffs there. I liked the general offensive approach in this game, where it felt like early the directive was like get the ball into the paint and the defense is going to collapse. And we found that like weak side, corner or wing 3-point shooter a number of times just simply by feeding the ball to sometimes Luke Cornette in the middle of the paint and then finding passing opportunities out of that. It didn't feel like we had that many purposeful paint touches as part of our offense so far since our initial 5-0 start to the season. So it's kind of good to see them get back to that and play with more purposeful offense. Did you guys notice that at all, or did you think it was just them riffing off of the looks that the Hawks were giving them?
You guys, I just want to say I looked up Salinger. It's very for a second it said Salinger signed a contract with the Raptors 1 week ago, but that was from 2016. I don't know what's going on with Sully. Sorry, Clean Music Lover says he's playing overseas. If he's in shape. Look, get him into the G. I'm willing to give him a chance because he was an excellent rebounder. But sorry, go ahead, Spoonie.
No, yeah, I thought the offensive approach was better until the fourth quarter, and then dude, this was a weird Tatum game because I agree. The first half was like the best half of basketball he's played all season. Just from his approach was so great. He was passing guys open. He was reading the defense so well, attacking when it was time for him to attack when they didn't send help. And then the second half, he was like, fuck it. I'm just going to shoot a bunch of bad threes and just kind of dribble into people. And I'm kind of done with this. We'll win this game no matter what. And so it was bizarre, and this team largely goes as Tatum goes, man.
Yeah.
If he's going to have the ball's going to get sticky with him, and he's going to go my turn, your turn, the rest of the team is going to do the same thing. So looked great in the first half. The third quarter was just kind of sloppy in a lot of different ways. And then the fourth quarter just seemed like, what are you guys doing, man? Let's run some stuff. But we generated some open threes that we missed. Derek, I think, missed a couple threes throughout the game that he would normally make. So I think it was an improvement. I still think there's a lot of room for them to grow. And the Hawks are not a great defensive team. So I wonder how much of that, the offense looking better was that too.
Man, we are absolutely due at some point for a 3-point progression. The whole team is kind of struggling from 3, right? Jalen's down at 34. Porzingis was down. Al's down. Pritchard's down. So many guys outside of Hauser who just continues to be just absolutely outrageous from the from what is he 4 from 9 today? Yeah, just 44% as he does every night.
Scrub.
It's 4 for 9, 5 for 6, or get out of town.
Over 50% or bust.
Yeah, this is what we want. We're aiming to beat that sophomore year of college record of 49% for Doogie. But I think we're definitely due. We generated a bunch of stuff. This could have easily been a bigger lead, but at the same time, I was left with a little sour taste. They pushed the lead out to 20, and it was I think it was the late third into the fourth. They just stopped doing all the stuff that's working. Tatum had heaps of moments of doing this having the approach that we really like, where he's decisive and he's getting downhill. It's all about decisiveness for me. It's if you are going to take the pull up 3, it's 2 or 3 dribbles, pull up. if you are going to get downhill, just go. It's when he starts dancing around, the shot clock starts getting down to like the 13, 12 second range, and then someone deflects it away. He's got to go get it, and instead of hustling to go get it, he like walks to go get it, and then there's 4 seconds left, and then we don't get a shot off or something like that. So yeah, I agreed, Spoonie. It was definitely a tale of multiple bipolar Tatum for sure. The first comment on the mustache. Mustache is gone today. We're undefeated, no mustache. That's true.
Got to get that Manscaped sponsor back in our lives.
Yeah.
Monetize your facial hair. All right, so 27% from three, 27.7% from three, where 45% of their shots were from three, is the makeup of a team that is incredibly confident in their defense. It's like, we're not hitting shit. We're just going to keep throwing them up anyway because we believe in our defense. Look, there's so much more to get to. We are just going to take a quick break to hear a word from our sponsor, FanDuel, as I filibuster and fumble around for the right button. Here we go.
Score early this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app is easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/Boston and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL.
I don't know if you guys have something. I think I have a bet to suggest.
There you
here.
go.
Responsibly,
Yeah.
of course. Whatever I've just checked on FanDuel, it's not there yet, but whatever the line is for the Celtics in the upcoming game against the Bulls, where it's a must win by 23 points to keep our head above water in the tournament, the in-season tournament, take that bet. Because we're going to go in with a emphasis on winning the game by blowing them the fuck out, basically. So tell me I'm wrong.
No,
think-
I'm with you. Go on, Spoonie.
You
Solid.
think they care? Did you hear Tatum's comments?
Yeah, I did,
after
Yeah.
the game?
Yes.
It kind of seems like he does not care. He's like, the courts are cool, basically. But I mean, also we talked about it last episode. We were like, they want to win money for their teammates. So yeah, I guess all right. I'll throw it in, Ben. Let's do it.
Because the line, thankfully the line won't be 23. But I will say I bet on the Celtics today -5.5, whatever it was, against the Hawks. They hit that, right? Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure. And so I've actually been money on betting on the Celtics this year. Like I bet the Magic +5 plus the money line. That was like the easiest thing to see coming, was the Celtics coming off like the big Milwaukee win and being like, yeah, it's the Magic, whatever, in Orlando. Especially the team that's like, they're not a good matchup for them. Which, actually, question. Firstly, take the Bulls line. That's your bet. Who would you rather see in the playoffs, Milwaukee or Orlando?
Definitely Milwaukee.
Yeah,
I've never been more certain of anything in my entire life.
Absolutely, dude. It's not close.
Yeah, they just own us, man. The Magic just friggin' own us. It's like bizarre, but they just take us out of everything we want to do, and we can't stop them.
They have the size that bothers us. I would like to see the series just because I want to know what it looks like when the Celtics, I know for sure, are taking it seriously. Because I feel like every time that they play the Magic, they're just like fucking around, and it's just so annoying. Because the way you beat the Celtics is to short circuit them on offense, and the Bucks they couldn't do that before, and now they really can't do it. So it's like I just don't see how at least the Celtics' biggest weaknesses, I don't think that the Bucks can kind of bring out of us like the way that the Heat can, but the Magic absolutely can bring that shit out of us.
Yeah, risky experiment. I'd love to see the series in theory to see what the Celtics look like against the Magic when they're taking it seriously, but to find out then that they've actually been taking it seriously the whole time and we do just genuinely suck against the Magic would be a terrible, terrible loss for all of us. So I don't think it's worth the risk.
Well, it's very possible that we see them in either the first, second, or third round. They're definitely, yeah. Well, thankfully they might be good enough where we don't see them in the first round. I wouldn't be surprised if they're a 5 seed. So,
yeah, they're second in the conference right now, right?
Yeah, dude.
Or third?
Yep.
Yeah.
Are you guys confident just in general that this is a like a downtrend for the Celtics overall these last 2 weeks, and like they will return to that early season form because the first couple of weeks so much fun, and it's been it's been hard to find like optimism to grasp at these last couple of weeks, and now with these injuries as well, and we're unsure how long KP is going to be out. This was a nice win that I think Jakey said was bittersweet. Like there were some glaring issues in this game on both ends, particularly offensively late in the game. I have to go on with my life thinking that they'll turn it around, as I'm sure you guys feel the same way. Like, do you see a way out of this rut for them?
You go, Spinny.
Yeah, I do.
This is a safe space.
Yeah. Look, am I fucking terrified they won't? Yeah. Absolutely. But I do think, like, defensively, it looks like they've really connected and clicked a lot quicker than I was anticipating. Like the defense is really good right now. Like even in these games where we've looked bad outside of the Magic game, like that Memphis game, Toronto game, like other than like the last 4 minutes against the Bucks, the defense has been awesome. And so basically we're back to square one. We've got to figure out the offense, but part of that just feels like they're just kind of trying stuff. They're all feeling each other out. Like offensive chemistry, I think will come around. And look, we're 17th in the NBA from 3 right now. This team has way too many good shooters.
That's what I'm thinking.
17th in the NBA. So once that picks back up, and you know how they go, like if they're making shots, everything else starts to click offensively for them. The ball movement comes around. Maybe that's a problem that they rely on the threes going down to play the right way. But I do think there's a lot of room for growth on that end. There's so much talent. Like once they get a little more chemistry, once they kind of knock out some of those bad habits, which I feel like I've said the last 3 seasons, they'll be good.
Yeah, I'm worried. I'm like, and it's all relative worry. Like, I'm confident that they're going to be one of the best teams in the East. I love the way, and this is the thing, I love the way that they match up against Philly and Milwaukee. So you're only so worried you can really be if they're going to be a 1-2 seed or a 3 seed, and you're just really confident going into 2 of the top matchups. I'm concerned in that, like, I have really high expectations for this team. I know how much talent there is on this team. We've seen how good they can be. We've seen how incredible KP can be and how much he can unlock the offense. And, like, Eric Weiss in the chat when we came on here and we did, like, 90 minutes on how incredible they were looking. Mm-hmm. They've kind of just and similar to last year where they went 21-5 and then they kind of went away from a lot of the stuff that was working. It's just like they let teams off the hook. And the Minnesota game where Tatum like ISOs against Jaden McDaniels instead of just doing this simple thing about like getting a screen and a roll and then like getting the offense moving and then getting the ball back in a different spot with McDaniels like, coming off a manipulated defense. The same thing always happens against the Heat. I'm just concerned of like, I'm not sure they're going to reach this new level that I think they definitely have the chance to unlock. And like, you can say, look, the Bucks were down 23 against the Blazers today and almost lost. And the Sixers did this and whatever. It's like, to me, think of the Celtics as like a cut above everybody else in the East. So like, I don't want to be like, yeah, see, everybody else sucks too. I don't think we should have to be saying that we suck. We have too much talent. And I think the fit is so clean that I don't want to like make those excuses for the team anymore.
There is a lack of continuity, though. Like it's a fairly new roster, and like we've seen other top tier teams. Like not to just say exactly what you said, not to say Jake, as far as like referencing other teams' struggles, but like they're all suffering from little blips of or a lack of continuity as well. You think about the Nuggets; they've dropped a few winnable games with Murray out. I guess we've seen the Heat drop a few winnable games as well with huge changes to their roster, given that they were hilariously unable to sign anyone during the offseason.
That was enjoyable.
Yeah, it was great. I know that just feels like forever ago now. Now we're in the doldrums of our own season. But due to that lack of continuity, we've seen, I think Eric Weiss said it in the chat a moment ago, like we've seen little flashes of brilliance and enough to sort of hang on to hold out hope that they will turn things around. And unfortunately, we have less time to develop that continuity with Drew Holiday and now Porzingis out as well, which is tough. You mentioned experimenting at this junction of the season. Joe was talking about that post game. I don't have the clip, but one area of experimentation, Spoonie, is Jaylen Brown's playmaking. I think we've seen some like significant flashes successfully in Jaylen Brown's playmaking, basically right after he got called out by Bill Simmons on that podcast.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard of it, the Bill Simmons podcast.
Everyone's podcast.
About a week ago. Yeah, also on this much more famous podcast.
That's right.
I've got one clip here of JB just awesome drive and kick out to Sam Hauser in the corner.
Pritchard. Brown kicks to the corner. Howard's in for three. How fast?
There's a few other examples that I was too lazy to upload, but yeah, he's looking good on a playmaking side of things, Spoonie, these last couple of games.
Yeah, I definitely think he's been a more willing passer, but it seems like the flip side is when he decides to attack, he doesn't know when is the right time to do it or something, and he's
Sure.
I thought overall this was a pretty decent Jaylen game, and I thought defensively he was actually really good. He was boxing out quite a bit too, which is something I've been watching because I have very few hobbies.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is like the intent is there. He's talented. He's so athletic. He can draw so much defensive attention. He just needs to like change. Like it's a massive change in the way he's been playing basketball since he's been a pro, right? So, and I think KP has done so much for him in the playmaking front. Yeah. Just working off him's helped so much. So, love the idea. It's been a little wonky, I would say, here and there. But then he's had those games where he's like 7 assists, which is just not something he does all that often. So, overall, I think it's good signs. Good signs.
Yes. Last couple games, Magic game. No, but today and the Buck, and again, these are the matchups though that work quite well for Jaylen, where like the other team doesn't have the ability to make him uncomfortable as easily. That is really funny though, Spinny. So there's nothing better than you just have an idea like, no, I need to pay more attention to Jaylen Brown box out. So it's like when I think I got to dive into these Al Horford rebounding numbers, and just the dopamine release that you get from that. It's semi-worrying, but that's why we're here, I guess.
I believe you once referred to that kind of deep dive as divorce-level research, Spoonie.
Correct. Yeah, about Sam Hauser. Yeah, specifically.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, look, while we're talking about Jaylen Brown, we've got to get to probably the highlight of the game. Let's check this one out.
Lane gets the steal, takes it high, the bucket for two.
Jaylen Brown, look at this. Crossover, and then I'm not going up for a layup, Capella. I'm dunking on your head.
Owned. And then the cross, like the dunk was sick, but the crossover was filthy. Just like completely sent Trae Young in the other direction, who is a bad defender physically, but he's quick-footed at least. Like, I don't know. I'm probably too apologetic of Trae Young there, but it was a sick crossover.
Underrated defender, Trae Young.
No, can we scrap? This is live, right? We can't edit this out. Shit.
Nah, it was a nice move. Look, Jaylen Brown's got himself a nice collection of posters already this season. Yeah, I feel like coming into last year and carried into this year, he has like regained his elite athleticism. There was like, I don't know, there was a year or two where he kind of kept going up for these posters and was like not quite getting there for dunks and just a little short. And then he started doing like lifting weights underwater. And now he's back to being like 21-year-old JB again. Yeah, dude, JB's catching bodies every second game, it feels like. Yeah, Gobert is like the biggest one. Obviously this one, I'm trying to think of some other ones that he's done as well. He wanted the Bucks. Oh yeah, he was that KP that murdered Brook Lopez. But Jaylen Brown, first play of the game of the Bucks game, he cooks Giannis on the perimeter, gets straight to the rim. Athletically and physically, I mean, he looks as good as he's looked in a couple of years to me. And he, like, you know, defensively, he's probably playing his best defense in years as well. So that's kind of what we asked for him. He just needs to make a couple more shots, man. That's really all it is right now.
Yeah, it's so weird he can't make threes anymore.
What the hell, dude?
What happened, dude? Like he was like 37, 38%, and then last year and now into this year, it's like so frustrating too.
I wonder, like, did he change his shot a little bit? I feel like he used to jump higher. Like, I feel like he used to really elevate on his like catch and shoot attempts, But then now I'm like visualizing it, and he definitely just still does do that. But I don't know. It is odd, and the free throws are the same. Like I don't know.
He is prohibitively jacked. I know, like, when I got prohibitively jacked, my shot just went completely out the window as well. So I'm assuming the same thing. Just speaking from experience, obviously. I mean, yes.
Now you're just like normal jacked. You're just like
yes. Yeah, my shot came right back.
Yeah. Gotcha.
even with my one ACL current physical makeup.
Jaylen was already kind of jacked though. So it's like, did he just go one level too much? Because like everybody was actually worried about Tatum being too jacked when now he's shooting better than he's shot in years, but Jaylen is definitely like thicker than he's ever been. But I just don't know if that's it. I don't know. It's just annoying though. Just go in more, please.
Yes, that would be nice.
Yeah.
So this is late night. Obviously, jumping around the page, run sheetless, rudderless. We've touched on a bunch of different points. What else we got, guys? I feel like we've digested the game, articulated the game pretty well. Folks in the chat, any points of emphasis from this game? Anything coming up on the calendar that you're excited for, concerned about?
No one's too concerned because I saw a conversation in the chat here talking about, the only team we're really concerned about is the Nuggets, and then a little discussion about how we match up with them. Ironically, like, I think, and people saying, like, how are you going to guard Jokic, Horford, or Kate? No one can guard Jokic, so it doesn't actually matter, really. It's about, can you slow down everybody else? And the Celtics, I think, can make Murray uncomfortable. And again, matchup-wise, that's the type of team that won't be able to take the Celtics out of their offensive flow. Like, there's too much. Like, KCP's a really good defender, but he's small. Aaron Gordon has been someone that I feel like Tatum and Jaylen, like, you go back and look at the two Nuggets games from last year. So they split them, but the amount of highlights that came out of the Jays in both of those games was a lot. And so, like, Jokic in drop coverage, not really he's a acceptable defender now, but he's not a Embiid type rim protector or anything like that. So I actually think that they match up well, just because the types of teams that you're worried about are the teams with elite perimeter defenders.
Yeah, dude. I think you can rack up some fouls on Jokic too, because he's pretty slow-footed. So if you get by him and he gets super frustrated, and that can kind of take him out of his offensive game too. So I have a really stupid question that I would love to get your thoughts on.
This is the perfect forum.
I was like, you came to the right place.
Yeah. Okay. Would you guys rather play the Heat in the first round or the Eastern Conference Finals? And I say this because, like, a lot of what we see with the Heat against us feels like we've gone through so many long playoff games already that we're not like 100% physical capacity, right? Guys are tired, and the Heat take advantage of that. But in the first round, they won't have that advantage because they're Heat culture, blah, blah, blah. But, like, you hear stories. They are the most well-conditioned team in the NBA. Like, I think that we can definitely say. So, like, and I know it's, like, terrifying because we could go out like the Bucks last year. But I think there's maybe an argument. Like, you get that monkey off your back in the first round and then you're flying high. I don't know. Is that dumb?
No. This is a good question.
These are the things that keep me up at night. So it's a great question. I think it's first round. I don't know, Jake. Like, if it wasn't for last year, maybe my answer would be different. But I think, my initial thought was, like, we need the right sense of urgency going into that matchup. So therefore, the conference finals would be preferable. But we've got so much history with the Heat, and the most recent data point being losing to them in 7 games, that I think there's enough going on to motivate the guys whichever round they play them in. So, yeah, let's prioritize health and fitness and play them in the first round.
So it's hard to answer this part of the question because I'm like, okay, are we getting the version of the Celtics that takes whatever team, let's say I say the conference finals, part of the reason why we were tied last year was because we screwed around and lost Game 5 against Atlanta, which forced a Game 6. We blew 2 games against Philly, which extended it to 7. Do we get the team that's just like 10% more talent-wise, they're better, like no question. And then can they just have that like 10% more focus, which means that they get through round 1 in 5 and get through round 2 in 6? Because then it's the conference finals easily. Right? Because, like, for me, I find it really hard to say round 1 because I'm like, just give me the Eastern Conference Finals. We're due, right? So we've played the Heat 3 times in the conference finals so far, and we're 2-1, so it's our turn. Right? That's how it works.
Is it also like partially a trick question because we played them in the conference finals? Then the presumption is that we made the conference finals, which on
Exactly.
how broad our concerns are with the offense, like that in alone is a success.
Yeah,
Some people also saying like, can we please just not play the Heat for 1 year?
Yeah, that's
please,
great.
please, dude. No, I think right now someone offers you 0-0 like home court advantage versus the Heat in the conference finals. You just take that and you run to the bank with it. Yeah,
Yep.
as much as I like where Spoonie's head's at, but I think
Buy some medication on your way to the bank as well because you will
Yeah,
need it for
Jesus.
your anxiety levels.
God damn it.
I'm already in the bargaining phase with playing playoffs at this point.
We're not even 20 games in. It's like, please, Lord, anyone but Eric Spoelstra and the devil magic. That is Pat Riley.
What do you think, Spoonie? I don't think we got your thoughts.
I think, I think. Well, let's assume like either way we make the Eastern Conference Finals. Because you guys are right. Like if we're guaranteeing we're in the Eastern Conference Finals, I think it's obviously that. But if it's not, but the flip side is like you've got more like Porzingis has not played deep into the playoffs. Like you kind of think like I'd almost rather get these guys used to the playoffs together in the first round against like the Hawks or something. And then take on the Heat in the conference. So I don't know, dude. I think the answer is not the Heat at all, but I would probably take the conference finals. I think that's where I'd go.
In theory, Porzingis should solve so many problems, and the whole post-up offense thing might just be the way out of the Heat series. Like if you just cut down the turnovers, which gives the Heat life every fucking year. And you go to the post, and that's a reliable source of offense for once. And then when they're switching everything, Porzingis is getting matched up onto Josh Richardson or whatever. You might be absolutely fine. Now, I'm not sure I should tell everybody this, but Caleb Martin has played 7 games this year. He's playing 20 minutes per game. He's averaging 7.6 points on 34.4% from the field, 24% from 3. Whereas in the playoffs, he against us in the conference finals was 60% from the field, 49% from 3. Yeah. Just if you wanted any more.
Any sense?
Yeah.
It
doesn't make any fucking sense.
What are we doing?
Yeah, and you just talked about how semi-favorable the matchup against the Nuggets could be for the Celtics, and that man stood in the way of us getting there. That is just the unfairness of life tenfold. That's absolutely brutal.
I think we still lose to the Nuggets even last year or this coming year, but we easily, I think, we're good enough and match up well enough to make it a possibility. And also just going to the finals again is that's what you want, you know. We could have done Celtics Late Night in the finals too.
Yeah, you hang a psychological banner for that. Oh, that year we made it to the finals. Absolutely.
Because we've made so many conference finals. These are first world problems, obviously, but those fuckers, dude.
I know.
God damn it.
It's so stupid.
Maybe we changed the podcast name to First World Problems. But Derek White finally dove on the floor in this game, giving me an extra 2 seconds of content to add to what I need to be roughly a 20-second intro video. So we're gradually getting new content and new footage for the podcast. Well overdue new intro, which is great. Sticking with other really important topics like first of the floor moments and the NBA Finals. Here is Jared Sullinger, in case anyone was wondering. He is playing overseas. He looks good. He looks good.
Does look pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks cut. He's got some dreads by the look of it.
Not
China
prohibitively jacked. Just the right amount of
the
jacked.
right kind of jacked.
Yeah.
That's right. Shout out to Sully. Good times.
Yeah, Doug. All right. I know.
Bring
I
him
love
and
that.
Yabu over. Let's see.
Y'all did. Y'all been killing it for him.
I know.
What's freaking Johan Begaron doing? I gotta say I've stopped checking his stats.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think that ship has sailed.
Yeah. That's
Probably.
I was so in on Johan, the little French Jaylen getting downhill in transition, but Yeah, just
First summer league was tantalizing, man. He looked pretty good, and then it just didn't happen. Then he shot worse in France his second year.
Yeah, that was a bad sign. Have you guys noticed that the Warriors are like floundering, and that was the draft pick that we traded for Drew Holiday? That's something that I thought kind of going in. I was like, oh, great trade, great pick for that's going to be like a 17th. I think Drew Holiday is better than the 17th pick.
Yes.
But like you start to see what can happen. Like Şengün now is the Al Horford for a Kemba Walker pick that we attached to get the big dog back, which I would do today again easily, like without question. But now it's all of a sudden Şengün's like by far the best prospect on the Rockets. All of a sudden.
Yeah, Nikola Brokic, amazing. But for this finals run, for this championship run, do we want like Al Horford and Drew Holiday, or do we want a pick and Alperen Şengün? Probably the former, right?
Oh, it's not even a question. Yeah, Şengün's cool, but you know what? He can't help us against the Sixers like Al can. The fact that and this is a full circle for the podcast. I can't get. It doesn't make any sense. And every year, I went in to watch the Ricky Sanchez podcast after the last Sixers game, and it's just like I don't understand how Al Horford is still doing this.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And then it's a special kind of torture because they brought him in, signed him to a ridiculous contract, and they had their worst season of the Embiid era, really. Which then culminated in the Celtics sweeping them in the bubble. Only for them to have to like attach assets to get off Al, for him to come back to the Celtics at like a pretty fair price, and then just start the cycle of Embiid getting owned by Al Horford again. It's mind-boggling.
Dude, they hate him.
Yeah.
They hate him so much. They talk about him like we talk about the Heat. Like,
Yeah.
it's visceral, dude. Like, when I went to the game in Philly, like, it's not even Tatum that gets all the hate. It's the nicest man on the planet, Al Horford. It's bizarre. It's very fitting for Philly to hate someone that like genuinely good of a person, though.
Absolutely. Oh yeah. Only they could turn what is like the most wholesome, like most professional player in the NBA into a villain. It's like absurd. I'm like, even just to like crystallize that again. He, like in that Philly game, he goes 5 for 9 from 3. It's like the guy that hasn't been able to shoot, and he just like. They start chirping him on the sideline. He's like blowing kisses. It's just he's like that. I guess that's like their Caleb Martin, but it probably is much worse. Like really, Caleb Martin's done it to us once, and Al Horford's been doing it to them for the entirety of Joel Embiid's career. Plus the added salt in the wound of trying to steal him from the rival, then him tanking your roster building abilities for like 18 months, only for it to get worse again.
Their anguish sustains him. It boosts him. It optimizes him. He's just better fueled by Philadelphia hate, which is a beautiful thing.
Everybody thinks it's PEDs and steroids, but it's just the tears of people from Philadelphia that just power this man late into his 30s.
Love it. Kristaps Porzingis calf injury, not insignificant. I do
not
feel
good.
like we knew that he was going to miss games this year. You know, after getting off to a really hot start, I was like, okay, when are the missed games going to come? How's it going to come? Is it going to come hard and fast? Is it going to hurt? Is it going to make me sad for a long period of time? A calf strain reevaluated 1 week from now with an Instagram post being like, it's all good, guys. I'll be back soon. For like, of all the ways for him to be injured and miss games, is this maybe like the least like nightmare fuelish way for that to happen?
Oh no, my favorite would have been like a left wrist sprain. That probably would have been my go-to injury if I was gonna like power rank the injuries I wanted KP to get. No, calf's not what I want. Even if, I understand it's a. I'm also trying to decide, is it good that he shared that like the good news thing with us? Like, is that good? Because it's like it's gonna like assuage our concerns, but also maybe getting our hopes up when he gets reevaluated in a week, and like, well, we're gonna reevaluate him in another week. It's I don't know. I'm worried. I don't like it.
Jake can't even finish a sentence.
I don't like it.
I'm sorry.
I don't like it. Yeah.
I just like, dude, do not rush him back. I don't care.
That's a
like,
good call.
We can play 500 ball for like 2 weeks. There's zero reason to rush that dude back. But this is what it's like to have KP on your team, man. Like, it's a calf strain today. It's going to be a, broken finger tomorrow. It's going to be an ankle thing in 3 months. Like, he's just not going to play more than 60 games, but
he did last year.
Back.
And like, I try, and look, I now I'm like, he's not going to play that many games, but 4 days ago, I was like, maybe he will play 70 games. Like, that's just.
I've been there.
He's looked so good.
I was just there recently.
I will say a Tweelol in the chat here, just being like, reevaluation is scary. They do that for every injury in the NBA, pretty much, where they just like, they say like, we know you're not going to be ready in a week, but we're going to come back and check, like, probably do another MRI in a week or whatever, like do a proper evaluation. I actually don't think it's scary at all. That's just how they communicate these injuries now. That's what they've started doing. They've started, like, instead of giving people timelines of like, we expect them to be out for 2 to 4 weeks, they've just started doing, we're going to reevaluate them in shorter time frames, which makes people sometimes think that's good, but then you also have to understand that probably means add at least another week. Like, if I had to guess, based on very little, all the same information that everybody else here has, I would say, how about Christmas Day? He'll be back.
Yeah, there we go, baby.
Wow.
That's a
Not what
month.
you want to hear.
Earlier than that.
That's a long time.
19th.
Just in time for the whole team to gel. Christmas Day.
Yeah.
Like, they got to learn to do it without him,
Well, we talked about it, but what a luxury Al Horford is. Just like, next man up. I've got this beautiful, like, ocularly spectacular 6-man who can come in and fill the role there. The pool, like the therapeutic spa that Porzingis posted, it was like, I don't know if you noticed, it said it was 3.5 feet deep. I don't know if he can fit his entire like lower leg in that.
Yeah.
It's like, he's a huge guy. Can he submerge his entire below the knee into that? Probably
That
not.
makes me more concerned. That's a purely an Achilles tub.
Yeah, I assume that you
It's not
factored that in. Yeah, to your prediction of the 19th.
It's not a full calf tub. It's a lower calf tub. That's what's really concerning.
We found you out, Kristaps.
Yeah. Can't trick us, dude. The Bear Slayer, man. He's got to just rest up. Yeah, look, Eric Wise, man. He's, as long as he's getting Queta minutes. Isn't that what they say? This is like you're one injury away from figuring something out or finding someone else in the rough or whatever.
I would really like to figure out just what life is like with Kristaps Porzingis playing 75 games. That's what I'd like to figure out.
Sure. See, how about 16? Or how many games do you need to play? 16 W's in the playoffs. That's how many games we need.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good.
There we go.
That's all we need.
Hey, real quick, guys. I saw a lot of people hand-wringing about Pritchard tonight and saying that he sucked. Am I crazy? I thought he was fine, right? I know this is totally like off topic.
No, absolutely.
No, this is what we do. Just jump around.
I thought he was. He goes 2 for 6 from 3. But to me, it's all about the mentality, and he was firing away. He didn't look hesitant at all to me, and he made a couple of big shots. One of them went in and out. Yeah, I wasn't worried about it. I'm actually very happy with Pritchard at the moment. Like, the last week or so, he's been far more like the player that I've thought. Also, we've got to address this. Thank you for the donation here. Michael Manning. I'm assuming that's Bobby Manning's alias here.
Relative.
Yeah, relative or alias.
Yeah,
who? I think this is obviously it's Al Horford, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Spoonie.
Like he is.
Yeah. I mean, the only argument, I guess, is Tatum because he's the best player. But, like, dude, it's Al. Come on.
Like, if we're doing, like, Avengers, he's clearly the Captain America of the team. Just, like, the solid leader, dad kind of figure. Whereas Tatum's... He's not Iron Man because he's a bit more chill than that. But, like... Tatum's he's Thor. He's like the most powerful, and he's not really the leader. He's just actually you guys hate Marvel. Let's switch to like Dragon Ball Z. So it's like, even
Gohan.
Gohan, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Or you guys go. I'll see if I know your reference.
If one fails to come to mind, folks in the chat, let us know where we can take this, because I guess I wasn't a huge like fantasy cartoon guy growing up, so I've got nothing.
So what? So what about just greatest leaders of all time then? Bill Russell obviously comes to mind, but that's more of a basketball leader.
Extreme comparison as well.
Yeah.
But yes.
Only fascists and dictators are coming to mind, which is definitely not good.
I almost said something really
bad
bad.
names went that way.
I was like, who are the good ones? Are there any? Have there been any good ones? Yeah, like
George Washington. I don't
sure,
know.
I guess.
He had
Yeah,
his faults as well.
right.
Some pretty
Very
major
much
ones.
so. Yeah.
Just Buddha, is that Al Horford? Like
Gandhi?
Gandhi, yeah, yeah. Let's just there
What,
we
a
go.
hunger strike? Yeah.
Al Horford's Gandhi, and we'll figure out who Tatum is next time.
We solved it. We solved it.
Yeah.
Gandhi's most talented student.
Yeah. Then the Ninja Turtles came to mind. So, like, Al Horford. You've seen the meme.
Oh,
It's
there
like
we go.
Master Splinter is kind of Al Horford. And
Jalen's Michelangelo. Or Raphael, sort of mercurial, right?
No,
Yeah.
Rafi's like the meathead, I think. And then
Oh shit! All right,
Cook-
never
like-
mind.
I thought it was Michelangelo. He's like all aloof and is just all about like smoking weed and cowabunga dude.
pizza.
And yeah, exactly. You basic college student, except without the education.
yeah, Jalen
Rope in a
likes.
sewer.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah, that's great. All right, we'll work on that.
We'll work on that. We'll
work on that.
That's a lot.
We might be experiencing a mid-season rut as well. Who knows? All right. Well, I think we could leave it there. I feel like we've riffed on this game enough and sort of where our mindset as a fan base is at this junction of the season. I don't know, guys. Anything else you want to touch on before we wrap up? I think maybe we'll just put this on the podcast feed, or maybe we'll be back for another podcast tomorrow. We'll see how we go. But any other thoughts?
No, I think just beat the Bulls as well now. Like, I know they suck, but they always play us hard. It feels like
They hit
every
shots,
time.
man. They're just one of those
dude.
damn teams that just
Yeah.
hits shots against us.
DeRozan
Yeah.
hits every mid-ranger and then goes to the line like 13 times. So
And DeRozan's shooting 35% from mid-range this year, so
well,
he's going
well,
like 7
great.
9.
Yeah, dude. And they lost to the Nets today as well. So it's just like, I think. I don't know. Anyway.
Maybe another chance for Alex Caruso to endear himself to Brad Stevens, who only
Yeah.
acquires players who have huge games against the Celtics. So big pressure cooker game for Alex Caruso. He may
Caruso
not play.
may not
apparently.
play, according to DJ Daniel. That would be nice.
That bodes
okay.
well for our 23-point victory.
Perfect. All right, Jesse, you'll be there on Tuesday. Excellent. You'll be reporting from the ground. All right. I think that's it.
All right.
Yeah.
I think that's it. All right. Well, thanks everyone in the chat for joining us live here on Celtics Late Night. Shout out to Spoonie and congratulations and well done on your debut appearance on Celtics Late Night.
Thank you.
I look forward to the next early Celtics game so we can do this as a trio again. In the meantime, we'll see you all next time on Celtics Late Night. Go Celtics.